I don't know about you, but I used to love collecting things. I collected books and CDs and DVDs, even a whole lot of cassette tapes. And I loved everything nautical. I had lighthouses, boats, statues of old fishermen. At one time, I even had a fishnet hanging in my living room with fake fish, seashells, and seaweed on display in it. And my prized possession was this wonderful life-sized ship's wheel that my son and daughter-in-law gave me for my birthday one year. If I found anything nautical or beachy, it was mine. And like a lot of people, I also had projects, things I had every intention of doing one day. You know, like that cushion I was going to make to put on the cedar chest that an old friend made for my granddaughter, and the keyboard that I was determined to learn to play. But try as I might, I just couldn't seem to learn. And then there was that stuff I had stored in boxes on one side of my bedroom. I don't even remember what was in those boxes. So let me ask you, does any of this sound at all familiar to you? Everything has a purpose, one day, or somehow. But it just keeps piling up, and after a while, it all just looks like a bunch of clutter. Some people just like stuff, and stuff is fine. That is until the stuff we want is more than we can keep organized and way more than we need. And then trying to find something we need among all the other stuff that we don't even know why we have it. That becomes a challenge in itself. And then, as I got older, I began to realize that someday I was going to be gone, and then what would happen to all my stuff? I didn't want to leave the responsibility of having to deal with my clutter to my children. So, I decided it was time to do something about it. But I didn't have a clue where to begin. But before I share my decluttering journey with you, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more life's journey tips I've learned along the way, and also smash that like button. And if you will stick around until the third tip, you will be surprised at the last motivation I want to share with you today. I'm not sure how it happened, but I sensed the Lord was impressing upon my heart that I needed to get rid of some of the stuff I had accumulated in my little apartment. It was always a pain trying to keep it dusted, and those boxes were taking up more space than I was willing to give up. At some point I realized I had more stuff than I would ever use, and so I started purging it little by little. And over a period of about 3 years, I finally had it down to a manageable amount. In fact, several years later, I even helped my daughter-in-law to declutter some of her stuff too. So if you think it might be time for you to begin to reclaim more of your own living space, let me share with you 3 motivators that I learned along the way that may help you to feel better about getting rid of some of your stuff and simplifying your living environment. Where to start? Let's be realistic. The first thing to realize is that this journey is not a sprint, it's more like a marathon. It's not going to happen overnight. I believe my first bout with decluttering took about 3 years, and I really did believe it was a mandate from the Lord in order to simplify my life. Number 1. First of all, you'll need to set some boundaries for yourself. The one that worked best for me was, if I didn't love it or if I didn't use it anymore, it was time to let it go. So with your boundaries set firmly in your mind, start looking around your house or apartment. You don't have to do it all at once. Maybe go through a drawer, or look into a few of those boxes stacked in the corner or in the closet. What is there that you may have purchased at one time you felt was necessary to have, or that you received as a gift or a keepsake? But now you just really don't love it anymore, or you no longer have a use for it. That may include things like clothes, knickknacks, excess furniture, kitchen utensils, dishes. Whatever it is that you no longer use or that you're not really crazy about, put it in a box. That's your get rid of box. And hold on to that box, because we will talk later about different ways to dispose of the stuff. And once something lands in that box, you can't change your mind. Number 2. Now let me tell you what a really great motivator in my decluttering journey was. I discovered that the old saying, "One man's trash is another man's treasure," really is true. I started selling things on Facebook Marketplace. I listed a few things that I didn't need anymore. And guess what? People started responding. They really wanted that stuff that I needed to get rid of. And they were willing to pay real money for it. Especially the nautical stuff. Wow, it made it a lot easier to let go of my clutter if I could turn some of it into cash. That was an amazing revelation for me. And it encouraged me to list more and more stuff. You wouldn't believe how much money I actually made from getting rid of things that I no longer needed. Now for me, selling online was so much better than having a yard sale. I didn't have to drag all that junk outside and sit there all day, while people tried to guilt me into selling my perfectly good stuff for next to nothing. And the stuff that I couldn't sell after a while, I either gave to people I knew who needed it, or else I took it to a thrift store to donate. Number 3. And the motivator that really encouraged me most of all was the fact that every time I sold something, gave away something, or loaded a bunch of stuff in my car to take to the thrift store, my heart felt lighter, and my apartment began to look more and more organized and less cluttered. I actually began to know what I had, and I could actually find the things I needed much easier. It was amazing to me how much more I liked my apartment and how clean everything felt. I have since learned that all that stuff was doing nothing to make my life better. It was just causing me unnecessary stress having to deal with it all. Now I still have plenty of books. I still have plenty of dishes and utensils for everything I want to cook. I don't miss any of that stuff I got rid of, and I can actually spend my time doing the things that I want to do now, instead of thinking about things I would never get done. And the good news is, if you do the things that you need to do in order to actually keep your life simpler, you will learn how important it is for everything you own to have a place, and for everything to be in its place. And by the way, I do still have the ship's wheel, and I still love it. So, where are you right now on your own decluttering journey? Be sure to let me know how things are going in the comments. And I hope these 3 motivators will help you in your own journey to simplify your life and to learn to live with less stuff. Have a Jesus-filled week, and bye for now.